Good?
Should be.
All right, good.
Okay, good evening. It's a little after 6 p.m. We'll call the meeting to order. This is the Burnett County Board of Adjustment. May I have a notice of the posting in accordance to the open meeting law, please?
Yeah, this time it was actually posted correctly.
Oh, that's
So
a
hopefully we won't have
change.
to do
That's
these,
great. Okay.
third time. Notice of public hearing, I'm filling in for the secretary here. State of Wisconsin, Burnett County, Monday, September 13th, 2021 at 6 p.m. at Burnett County Government Center, room 165, Town of Meenan, Siren, Wisconsin, regarding the following. 1, variance 2117, Drakakis and Leach. Public notice is hereby given to all persons in the town of Jackson, Burnett County, Wisconsin, that Angela Drakakis and Joseph Leach have made an application relative to a proposal to vary the terms of Burnett County Land Use and Shoreline Protection Code of lake setback on Pine Lake. And said addition also being less than 75 feet from the lake setback of North Sand Lake, located 27895 Caverick Road in RR1 zoning district, lot 1, CSMV 18, page 252, section 25, T40N, R15W. I think I got every line there. Bifocals, I may have missed
You
one.
want me to read them?
No, that's fine.
Okay, because I could.
2, variance 2118 Graham. Notice is hereby given to all persons in the town of Union, Burnett County, Wisconsin, that Bill Graham has made application relative to a proposal to vary the terms of the Burnett County Land Use and Shoreline Protection Code of Ordinance as follows. To construct a garage at a reduced setback of 20 feet from the rear lot line, located 8484 Beach Street in the RR1 zoning district, the west 50 feet of the unsubdivided portion of Block 4 in Lakeview Heights Plat, Section 36, T40N, R17W. Variance 2119 Espelin. Public notice is hereby given to all persons in the town of Union, Burnett County, Wisconsin, that Lawrence Esperlin has made an application relative to the proposal to vary the terms of the Burnett County Land Use and Shoreline Protection Code of Ordinance as follows. To construct a dwelling at a reduced wetland setback located on Little Yellow Lake on the parcel with tax ID 25076 in RR1 zoning district, lot 6, CSMV 16, page 275, section 27, T40N, R17W. 4, variance 2120 Corneliuson. Public notice is hereby given to all persons in the town of Siren, Burnett County, Wisconsin, that Paul Corneliuson has made an application relative to a proposal to vary the terms of the Burnett County Land Use Code of Ordinance as follows. To leave a garage which was constructed without a land use permit, which doesn't meet the required side and rear setbacks, and expansion of a non-conforming structure more than 25%, located at 24724 Old 35 and in the RR1 zoning district, lot 9, CSM, volume 3, page 182, section 5, T38 North, R16W. Number 5, variance 2121 Stoffels. Public notice is hereby given to all persons in the town of Oakland, Burnett County, Wisconsin, that Richard Stoffels has made an application relative to the proposal to vary the terms of the Burnett County Land Use and Shoreline Protection Code of Ordinances as follows. To leave a sports court which has been constructed without a land use permit, which doesn't meet the required side setback and which doesn't meet the required setback to the center line of a private road located on Devil's Lake at 27449 Doriot Lane in the RR1 zoning district, lot 5, CSM, V16, page 226, section 35, T40N, R16W. Number 6, variance 2122, Grabo. Please notice that it is hereby given to all persons in the town of Webb Lake, Burnett County, Wisconsin, that Tim Grabo has made an application relative to a proposal to vary the terms of the Burnett County Land Use and Shoreline Protection Code of Ordinances as follows. To leave various retaining walls which were constructed without land use permits, which don't meet required lake setbacks and side setback on Webb Lake, located at 3057 and 3061 Holiday Acres Drive in the RR1 zoning district, lots 9 and 10, CSM V27, page 234, section 17, T41 North, R14W.
Thank you. May we have a motion for the approval of the agenda order, please?
I will make a motion to approve the agenda order.
Okay, the motion made to approve the agenda order. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. We have a little meeting procedure here. First of all, sitting board members have visited all the sites independently. And all public comments, there's a 3-minute time limit. Only one person to speak at a time, okay? State name and address for the comments. And board shall ask for public comments not related to any variance appeal at this hearing before. The board shall ask one person from the announced variance appeal be designated by the applicant to present their case before the board. The board shall then ask for public comments and any received correspondence from local authorities or neighbors concerning the particular variance/appeal. After initial presentation and questions from the board shall close the public part of the meeting and deliberate amongst themselves. Ask any questions to clarify items of concern. A vote will be taken before moving on to the next agenda/appeal or term on the agenda. One thing to be aware of, very important, applicant, local officials, and DNR shall receive within 30 days a letter summarizing the hearing, also including information on applicants' rights to appeal the decision in circuit court within 30 days. Any person aggrieved by this decision, or any taxpayer, or any officer, department, board of review, or Bureau of Accounting may, within 30 days, after filing of the decision in the Office of the Board of Adjustment, commence an action in circuit court seeking the remedy available by certiorari. Okay. Let's then proceed to the public hearing. And that's going to be, first is
Drakakis and Leach.
2117.
17.
Yep. Okay. 2117, sorry about that. And, okay. That is Drakakis and Leach.
So are they here?
Yes.
They're on remote? Okay.
Okay.
They're on the phone.
Okay.
So, would you like to explain your variance request for us, please?
I would. This is Joe Leach. Address is 1467 Myrtle Court North, Maplewood, Minnesota. I'm asking for a variance for me and my daughters to expand our lake cabin on North Sand Lake. Reason being, we just need more room. I have a daughter who's moved back from the West Coast. She's in the area now. She enjoys the cabin like my other daughters. My wife and I are planning on retiring to the cabin in the future. Back in 1987, I received a variance to not adhere to the setbacks for Pine Lake, but I did meet the requirements on sand. That was approved back in 1987. So 2011, me and Jim Flanagan measured out their 75-foot setback on Sand Lake and proceeded to build 10 years ago. But now we would like a variance to add on. As regard to the not conforming to the 75 feet on Sand Lake, we did back in 2011. I know that, the lake levels have really gone up in the last 5 years in our area. I've been up there over 60 years. I've never seen the water table as high as it is. So the setbacks that we're trying to get with the variance, they got to be very, very close to 75. They can't be much less than that. I know there's been ice heaves in the water level, but I think that's we're not really trying to build real close to the lake at this point. And if the board members have gone out to the property, they've seen that I've taken every effort in the low area behind to stop any erosion or any runoff into the wet area behind me. And there's no reason to believe I won't do that for the proposed addition. I think I've been a good steward of the land. I've adhered to every setback and trimming, and my shoreline is not a beach like I've seen many other people do with their frontage. And I think that with this variance, it'll definitely improve our weekends up at the cabin, and definitely when me and my wife retire up there, to give us more room and enjoy our place up there. So I'm asking the board for the variance. Are there any questions that you'd like to ask me about the variance?
Yes, we have a notation here that there's a riprap in part of the area that you're going to expand into. What's going to happen to that?
Well, it's not really riprap. It's just more of a line of boulders that I set up, and just to try to make a border of my yard. They don't really constitute any type of stopping. It's more behind the existing cabin.
Okay. So this wasn't a recommended fix at the time. This is something you did on your own.
Well, I noticed right away. I mean, because you can put gravel down there, and I was working with Hopkins, and they said seed it and everything like that. But if you get a good downpour, you just can't stop something from moving because of the pitch of the land. So but I thought I'd stopped it completely, because I know that Jim Flanagan expressed, Joe, you can't let nothing run into this low area. So
okay. Something else came up was a shed that was constructed.
Yes. Yeah, that was another point we had at the other meeting. That was a gift, and I was unaware that you had to get a permit for that. That's on me. I will be applying for a permit this week. I'll be heading up to my place this week and applying for that.
Okay. Is there a plan to move that shed then?
There is.
Okay.
And what the setback on that, I believe, was 35 feet. So I'll have to move that before I get the final sign off on the permit or the building.
Okay. The home that you're going to build, or the addition, is that going to be 1 story or 2 story, you think?
Well, we were thinking 2, but we just gets to be spread out. We're trying to make the smallest footprint that we can. So we went up 2 stories to try to, because if you look at the property, there is a turn in the property, and we're just trying to stay away from the wetland as much as we can.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided that with the family that we would try to do the 2-story to make a smaller footprint on the property.
Okay. You have any questions?
Nope.
Okay.
This is Mark Krause speaking. We did the field work out there, and I think Jason had a question on the regional flood elevation for the proposed addition, and we have that information to provide to it. So
Okay.
We prepared
Yeah,
the
more
other
than
site
one.
work out there, so
Copy.
the regional flood elevation is 988.2, and the ones in parentheses are the elevations at each of the corners of the proposed addition out there.
Okay.
So everything is out of the floodplain for the building site.
Was there any kind of definite wetland setback, what do I want to say, change to allow you to build at that time when you originally built?
No, we went with the 87 variance. That was, and I think I don't know if you have the copy of it there, but I might have sent that in to Jason. But it basically, I think it just read that you wouldn't have to adhere to it. That I don't think there was any type of setback, feet wise or anything. I think the terminology was just not adhere to it.
Okay, thank you. So that there's a small area between the two homes, is that just an interconnecting walkway or something, or a porch?
No, that's a current deck that'll be removed, and that's a current.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry,
That'll be,
there's a,
that deck will become part of the foundation
Yeah.
for the new.
yeah, okay.
The,
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't have any other questions, if
Okay.
anything from Jason or.
Do we have any input from the township at all, or?
We have no correspondence from the township, nothing from anyone else.
Okay. If that's the case, we'll close this part of the meeting and we'll discuss this. Okay? It seems that part of this has been settled already, from what I see about, as far as moving the shed.
Yeah, the unique property limitations,
Yeah,
the current structure doesn't meet, and this falls within that.
and,
Harm to public interest, I don't see any. Obviously, we had no concern, citizens over the situation. And unnecessary hardship, I think that doesn't meet, or it does meet that, in this circumstance with size and space as we need, I don't have an issue with it.
okay. And he would move the rock, it's merely an arbitrary thing, supposed riprap, so that's not a big thing, I guess.
Hearing that, I'll make a motion to approve variance 2117, Drakakis and Leach,
Okay,
with the conditions that the shed be removed or a land use permit be obtained by 10/1/2021, and also meet all appropriate setbacks of floodplain requirements. This parcel currently meets the shoreline vegetation requirements. However, the expansion westerly will remove more shoreline vegetation along Pine Lake, and it is likely exceed the current state requirements. May want to consider, or does the home have gutters on it right now? If not, we should require that gutters are connected to a garden for the portions of the roof that directly run off towards Pine Lake.
okay. Motion been made to grant the variance with the conditions stated. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Thank you. You have your variance with the conditions that were stated. You may check with the zoning office on normal working hours, and you'll have your permit. All right, thank you. Okay. And now go on to variance 2118, Graham.
We have someone here for that.
Oh, just Mark Croze,
Oh, Mark,
Graham?
Yep. speaking on behalf of,
You didn't know that, Mark?
we got you listed.
You just got hired again.
Anyway, we did a certified survey map. If you've been out there, you've seen the hill and the setback back there.
Right.
And it's very tight, and he has very limited space on the front side for any building. And so he's going up on the top on the flat, back as close to the farm field as he can, where it's flatter back there. I think it's a practical solution. The neighbor, the farmer, had no issues with it, as far as I know, and I don't know if I think he sent a letter or a notice on that, I believe. And so that's what we're looking to do. And then in the future, he would be putting a cabin on the front portion, and that would be the conformances that we've had. We did meet with the town board and had the right-of-ways of the streets established and locked in, because as you can see on there, the streets aren't where they belong. And so there wasn't even supposed to be a street there. It was supposed to be in the front, and they got built kind of where they were, so that kind of carved up this lot a little bit tighter than it normally should have been also, so it was beyond his control on that one too, as far as what he could do. And so I guess if there's any questions regarding that, I don't know what other comments we had. There'd be no living quarters in there, 12-foot sidewalls, I believe, doors to Beach Street, and pitch not to exceed 612 is what I think we talked about previously.
Okay. I'm assuming it's a metal building, or?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. Something else came up, a notice, a shed on the other side of the road connected to sewer or something?
Yeah, if I recall correctly, I believe he said he was gonna get that in compliance and or remove it completely, I think,
Okay,
is what was discussed last time.
okay.
So,
I think he had a sewer hooked up to a camper at one time out there, and I think he just moved it to that place, and the camper was removed from the property.
Okay,
And then, so compared to the last staff report where I have he did get the septic serviced. That was one of the issues before. The septic was behind on servicing. He got that taken care of. He got a driveway permit, from us recently. And like Mark mentioned, he had a CSM done to combine the parcels. So he's gotten some of those things done
okay,
that were mentioned last time. So I think it's really just a matter of that, shed, sewer issue to get resolved yet.
And that was on, the shed is on the
Goes on the
triangle one, yeah,
It's,
yep. Block 4 view, not the parcel A, well, it's the 2, yeah. This is the shed that we're talking about.
nope. Oh, the violation shed?
Yeah.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
that one right there that has the sewer connected to it.
Correct,
So
yeah.
he's either gonna
And the
remove it or
building's gonna
fix
go
it.
over there, yeah,
That's where his cabin will be,
correct,
like, next year. but
because there was
this
a spot for a camper on there
Okay.
too.
This
over
is the
time.
garage.
All right.
variance.
You have any further questions on that?
I do not on this one.
Okay, we'll close this part of the meeting and ask, any additional correspondence concerning this?
We have
Township?
no correspondence from the township. There is a letter in the packet there from the neighbor, the farmer behind him who doesn't object
Okay,
to the variance.
yeah, it's pretty hard to see any buildings from there, so I would imagine, so.
Yeah, like Mark mentioned, look, the items that were discussed last time was that there'd be no living quarters in that shed. It'd have 12-foot sidewalls,
Mm-hmm,
pitch not to exceed 612, and the doors would face Beach Street.
okay, all right.
That was the items last time.
And no, habitation involved in there, no
Correct.
sewer,
Yep.
water?
Yep.
All right. I think I'd make a motion to approve the variances requested.
I will second that motion with the, talking about the existing shed, which is connected to the sewer and water, be brought compliant or removed from the parcel. The structure is specified with 12-foot sidewalls, 612 pitch, access from Beach Street for the garage, and then no habitation, stuff like that.
Okay. Okay, motion made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Gentleman has his variance again, checked with zoning on normal working hours, and appreciate that. Thank you. Okay.
Here we go.
Let's see. Let's go to,
Did I get her done?
Oh, he said, here we go.
Oh.
That's the next step.
Oh,
For years, it's nice to be able to build.
okay.
variance 2119,
2019,
Espeland.
right, Espeland?
So they are on the phone.
Good evening.
Yep, go ahead.
This is Lawrence Espeland. I'm currently residing at 11550 Arbor Lakes Parkway, number 1349. That's Maple Grove, Minnesota, 55369. We are requesting the board to approve a variance for the site in question. I acquired the land in the year 2004. It is our intent, along with my wife Debbie, to make this our primary domicile. The site in question has had drawings submitted by Mark Krause that I believe the board is in possession of. The site has significant challenges in terms of a hill that presents slope issues. There is also a significant ravine, and both of those issues, we are asking for a variance of the board for the site in question.
Okay. I saw you were asking for a reduced wetland setback, but there's no footage explained or noted. If you're asking for a wetland setback, how many feet, do we know?
I believe it's a 10 foot of relief, so they're asking for 30-foot setback instead of 40-foot setback.
Okay, that's,
And then the represents 40-foot setback.
I believe that's accurate.
Setback is the requesting.
40.
and it really impacts only the house, really. It looks like the garage touches the edge of it.
Yeah, the garage would be conforming, it's just the house
Right,
that
okay.
needs the variance.
And as you know, at the site, there's pretty tight wetlands where the bank goes up the hill steep there, so that's why there's very limited, space to build there. And so it's a matter of distributing into the bank or into the edge of the wetland for a reasonable sized building. And we also have some runoff issues where that ravine comes down the hill, so they have to make sure they accommodate for the drainage pattern up there also.
Okay, thank you.
And last time when we all spoke, I think they mentioned it was gonna be a 2-story building, that's what I have notes for, and then, that we were,
That is our intent, sir.
And I think they plan on guttering all the house and having rain guards or have it go away from the wetland or.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that kind of a hill would be almost the problem.
Tell me about it. Shoot. If they want to give us more. intend to.
I don't have any more questions on this one. We, like I said,
Okay.
covered it, been on site.
Okay, I guess, I really don't either. It seems pretty cut and dried if he follows what he says he's going to do. And let's see what the staff report says, if we missed anything. Do we have any input from the county, neighbors or?
You have, there's no correspondence from the township, there is a letter in there, or an email from the neighbor, Mike Nelson,
Okay,
basically saying, yeah, it's a tough site, pretty much, so.
okay, thank you.
Close the public hearing.
Well, I guess we should probably ask if there's anybody
Oh.
else that wants to speak, because they might not.
Any other comments from the audience concerning this? Okay, thank you. Well, with the footage proposed for the wetland setback, still gives us 30 feet, which is very ample. And, have him follow through on some kind of a rain gutter system. I would make a motion to approve the variance requested.
Did we close the hearing? We did, okay.
I think that, it's a unique piece of property, certainly. No harm to public interest with the following things we added. And, we say make a motion to approve the variance.
I will second that motion.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Thank you. Okay,
Thank you very much, board. We appreciate it.
thank you. Okay, next is 2120. And Corneliuson?
We've got someone here supposedly. Oh, Paul.
Hey, good afternoon, rather.
Yep. So I'm Paul Cornelison. I am the owner of 24724 Old 35, with the building in question. So I guess to explain, there was an original structure there built in 1970s. I'm not exactly sure. It was damaged in a storm. And when I went to repair the building, it was noticed that it wasn't worth fixing with the amount of rot and damage that was there. I contacted a contractor and we went through the process of planning, rebuilding. I asked him multiple times about a permit. He told me many times I didn't need one until I got the notice that I did after the building was constructed. So it doesn't meet the setbacks for the rear or the side property lines. In the last meeting, I did have a letter and my neighbor called in. So the two property lines in question, the neighbors didn't have a problem with the setbacks. So I guess as of now, I'm just asking for forgiveness. Let me keep the building that's already there.
You expanded the building also, right? From
Yes.
the original, okay.
But only into my property. It didn't get any closer to the property line.
Okay. You had fence on two sides, did you not?
One side.
One side south?
Yep.
Okay. All right. All right. How do you use the building, sir? What's it used for?
Storage,
Okay, okay. Not a business or anything else, it's,
nope. I do some tinkering projects at home.
okay.
Just wanted a bigger place to put all my stuff.
Was the original foundation on a concrete slab or
Yes,
was? And the south and the east walls were already up in block halfway or?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I built on top of the existing block walls
Okay,
and used the existing concrete.
okay. And then added a slab and kept on going.
Yep.
Okay,
There was
gotcha.
a slab added on the north side.
Okay. There's power to the building, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Okay, any water, sewer, or anything like that?
No.
Okay. I think I remember, I noticed you confronted the contractor,
We've had some words. He did write a letter stating that he admitted that he told me not to get the permit. He didn't think it was required.
okay. Maybe he learned something too,
I hope he did.
huh? Okay, all right.
If you're interested, this is Mark from White Mr. Van, we have before and after pictures of the garage too. See that? I don't know. Get copies of the original.
Yeah, the before wasn't, we were on site for the after,
Yeah.
so. Looks good.
I think I remember President Reagan saying, trust but verify, if I remember something like that, yeah. Yeah, a simple phone call would have saved a lot of grief.
Oh, definitely.
Okay,
A learning experience.
I don't have any questions.
okay, I guess
Been through this packet a
That's
couple
what I
times.
needed to know. We'll close this part of the meeting and we'll discuss amongst ourselves. Thank you. Any comments from neighbors?
So you have a letter in there from, Mr. Yorchuk, neighbor, who doesn't have any issues with it.
Okay,
You have a letter in there from the builder, like we mentioned, with his information. And I think last time we talked, storage workshop is what the discussion was, no living quarters and personal use, basically, is what we talked about last time.
okay, thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve variance 2120 Corneliuson with the stipulations that the permit was taken care of by, well, 9/1's already passed.
Yeah.
Not to be used as a bunkhouse or habitable structure and residential purposes for the time being. You know, as we said, I think last month or previously, if a property owner chooses to go, they just gotta apply for a permit for that.
If somebody wants to try to.
If a home business turns into a business kind of thing, so. I made a motion with those three
Just
stipulations.
looking here, again, some of the brief staff report, whatever.
Yep.
Sort of make himself right with the world. He has to come and get a permit from the county and.
Yep.
Okay. I guess the one thing I would worry about would be his neighbor to the south and behind, and he has no problem, but you gotta look pretty hard to see a building from his garage anyway. That would be a concern, but, and the fence lines were there, or any to the south, so. Okay. I'd make a motion to approve the variances requested with the fact that you obtain a building permit. Okay,
I'll second that.
all right, motion made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Thank you. Okay. All right, Mr. Stopples. Good evening.
Good evening.
Would you just tell us what has transpired so far in your case?
I'm Richard Stoffels, and I live at 27449 Doriot Lane. And I take full responsibility for the building of a sport court on my property. I didn't have a permit for it. That was not intentional. The blueprint for the court itself was a volleyball court we had there for 20 years on the rear of the property. And we played volleyball in that court with the kids and the grandkids for 20 years. And we thought it would be a good idea to build a sports court there. Construction was never concealed. It wasn't hidden. It wasn't done at night. I talked to all the neighbors about it, what we plan to do. The utility companies came out, and the trucks were going up and down the road, and everything was out in the open. It was everything was sufficiently rerouted, so that worked out good. When I decided to proceed with building the court, after talking to the neighbors, and I talked to Hopkins, and I got three names of cement contractors from them. And I took bids, and never was it mentioned to me by them or anybody else that I would need a permit for this. I didn't anticipate at the time that this slab was going to be treated as a building. That's my fault. I've done several things to try to make it right. The court was actually, the volleyball court was actually, all those years, if you look at the way the lots are routed in that area, they angle towards the lake at a funny angle. And all those years, I honestly thought my volleyball court was on my land. I mean, why would anybody in their right mind build a volleyball court on their neighbor's property? I mean, that's crazy. But it was the angle and where they were, and so, like I said, the blueprint for this court, this sports court, was the volleyball court, and we just put a slab over it. And it's on the neighbor's property, and it's too close to the road. So I've done everything I know to try to make it right. And the first thing I did was, of course, talk to my neighbor. And they were very receptive. Together we drew up a land swap agreement. And I don't know if you have a copy of that agreement.
I believe we did. It's the latest one.
Yes.
Where you agreed to a swap or something.
Yes, and
We have copies of that.
Mark has laid it out and all the measurements and everything, and the purpose of that agreement was, of course, to make everything with taxation, with liability, anything like that would come into play to make that legal, to make the improvement to just my property, so the tax assessor could tax my property and, of course, not his. So that was done. That was the first thing I did to try to make it right. There's 5 other neighbors that own the road. Okay, so we all own the road, and we all, I went to all 5 of them, and I told them all about this, and a lot of them knew about it already. They were totally supportive of keeping the court. Many of them come over and play. They're always invited. They don't find any interference with the road whatsoever, and they sign the agreement. Now, as part of that agreement, one of the most important things that I told them, and I agree to it totally, is that if this in the future ever would become a problem with, let's say, the 6 of us, the owners, got together and they said, we want to improve the road and we need it wider, we need this, we need that. Anytime in the future that happens, it's gone, my sport court. And that was the agreement. I told them about it. I signed it. It's my understanding that when the road was built, they scraped away the topsoil and they put down class 5 and that was it. If the road were to be, this is the way I understand it, it's not, but if it were to be properly done, there's 2 feet, the 2-foot layer of solid clay under that road, that would have to be taken out and it would have to be rebuilt and domed and everything, and that would be, I've heard an estimate of $100,000. And the neighbors, I talked to them about that. And I said, I don't want to play that I know road construction or anything, but I told them about that. And they said, we wouldn't be interested in anything like that, anything at all like that in the future. But I said, if it does come down to that, I would certainly tear it out. And they understand that. Okay, I want to talk about harm to others because I did this. I want to talk about harm because of the road itself. And I believe there's no harm to anybody on this. And the reason I'm saying that is when I built the court, the drainage, it drains towards the road, and I built a ditch there with rock in there. It drains through a culvert into a wetland area by my property. And the road right behind me was one of the worst sections of road. It washed out about 4 times in the past years. I mean, just totally washed out.
Doriot Lane.
Yeah, on Doriot Lane there. And when I put in that drainage for the court, that helped the drainage of the road actually, and it hasn't washed out since. And so the drainage is actually better. Their neighbors, I've talked to them about, is there harm in moving your boat in? Is there harm in, getting deliveries, moving your pontoon in during that road because of the court? Is that an issue? And they all agreed, all of them, that it's not an issue, that they go in there with their pontoons, they can, and it's not a problem. As far as maintenance of the road, plowing, the court doesn't interfere with plowing. This is a private road. It doesn't interfere with any maintenance of, like a bobcat getting in there, a grader getting in there, something like that. I've been able to maintain the road. I do that with a couple times I've taken up a collection from all 5, well, they're including me 6, and we've regraded the road and stuff like that. And I've also added rock to the road, and the road's in actually the best shape it's been in 20 years. In conclusion, this is a unique situation. It's a unique structure. Like I said before, I never anticipated that it would be treated like a building. I just never anticipated. I built my cabin up here 20 some years ago, and it was the wild, wild west up here. We got permits from Flanagan, came out and staked it out, and then he came out when the foundation was in and checked the setback, and that was it. I never saw an electrical inspector, I never saw a plumbing inspector, I never saw anything else. And I was wanting, because I was contracting my cabin, and me and my wife did a lot of work on it, I wanted the inspectors out there because I wanted it done right, and I didn't, So I guess the mindset was that putting a slab in, I didn't need which it's my mistake. And in conclusion, I'd just like to say it was unintentional. And if the board thinks that I need a consequence, then maybe a fine is in order, but to pull out a beautiful, it's one of the best pickleball courts in the state. It's very nice. I don't know if you had a chance to see it, but it's to tear it out and rip it up and get rid of it, it would be a really tough thing. But, like I said, if it comes down to you feel that I need to be fined or I have to do community service or something like that, I don't know.
Did you explore buying additional land to the east of the road now?
To the east.
In other words, where the road is now, to go further, that would be east?
To slide the road east, I'm figuring what you're asking about, right? Buy land to the east to slide the road to the east?
Yeah.
Well, where the road exists now, I own 20 feet east of there. So the road, the size of the road, now if the size increased, now Jason would know this more than I would. So maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but if the size of the road increased, I would have 20 feet, I could widen it on my area there, or I could move it over 20 feet. Now, I don't know what, but then the road would have a big jog in it, like it would be sort of unnatural, but.
I'm looking at your 20 feet shy. If you could add 40 feet on the road, you'd be home free.
Yeah, that neighbor over there is not receptive to selling land.
Just asking a question anyway.
I did, before they owned the property, I planted 500 trees over there, so they're all about 30 feet now. But, it's a beautiful area. So I'm willing to, answer any questions, but.
It would appear that you would have had other places to put that court. Was the garage there first, or?
Yes, the garage was there before the cabin.
Okay.
And I did talk to Jason about other areas to put that court, and it is the lot slopes down to the lake.
Yep.
And there is no other spot. The area between the house and the garage is where the septic tank is. And the area on the other side of the road, like on the west side, is where the
drain field
system.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so there is no other place to put it.
Something I didn't notice last time, and I didn't really see that. Your lot does actually encompasses about what? It is about 15 feet from the current driveway to the east there? I'm referencing the,
Yes,
this is the driveway that comes into the pickleball court, and this is your lot line here, the corner of this.
right.
Correct? So you actually own all of, or the right-of-way was in all of your 66 feet of property that was established. You're the only landowner on that 66-foot right-of-way.
The entire road right away is.
Is on this
his
parcel,
lot.
correct,
And then it's like that for the lot, every lot to the south of him too, they're all
on one side.
on the lake lots.
Understandable, in our town, a lot of times they're split, the road is split between sometimes parcels, but obviously with the unique conditions of this parcel.
I think it was probably done that way since the lots were subdivided, you know, when they had to have access.
Correct.
So they
Sure.
put the easement on the farthest east
Gain the
side,
most.
farthest away from the lake.
Yep, yep. Subdivisions, regulations. We got some violations on record. Would you want to discuss some of that with, we've got some O5 structures, multiple sheds. Were you aware of these? And I assume if we issued a citation, you were aware of the O5.
In '05, Mr. Flanagan came out and I had a, fish house on skids down on the beach. And, I had it all marked with our name and number and everything on it. So I would pull it out with my ATV during the winter and we'd ice fish. And, he came out and he told me, he said, geez, you can't have that on the beach. And I said, well, it's not a permanent structure and everything. He said, can't have it on the beach. And I said, all right, where do you want it? And he said, well, just pull it up on the shore. We're up on, like I've got about 12 steps that go down. So he said, pull it up there, get it off the beach. I said, okay. So we pulled it up. It's up there. And then now it's moved even farther back because Jason wanted it back at least 75 feet. So I pulled it back and I sent Jason a picture of where it's at right now. And it's probably 100 feet back from the high water mark. And then there was also, with the water got really low, we'd need 150 feet of dock. Now, and then it went way up. So I had 4 sections of dock that were just sitting on the shoreline. And this was, how long has the water been up? 5 years? More than that? But anyway, they were sitting there, so finally, they were just sitting in a pile, and I thought I'd bolt them together and make it look halfway decent. So I did that while we waited for the water to go down. Now it's going down. And Jason saw it, and he said it was too wide, that you can't have it. So I unbolted those, took them out. They're gone. And I sent Jason a picture of that.
And, let's see, the lock and chain, you fixed that item too, I believe.
I sent him a picture. When Steve Curtis came out to service my tank, he cut the lock, and I didn't know about it. So I didn't have a lock on the septic, so I put a new chain on there. I never even knew that.
In the bunkhouse, or the garage, living space, he did apply for a bunkhouse permit, September 3rd. We haven't issued it yet. We're like 2 or 3 weeks out. So.
Well, I'm trying to do everything I can to make this right. I mean, I'm not a renegade, I'm not I mean, we love it up here, we wanna retire up here, and, we wanna become residents, and we support this area totally. I could go to Costco down in the cities and buy a bunch of crap. We buy our major appliances up here, I bought my lawnmower up here, we try to be part of the community. I mean, I'm not trying to get away with anything. It was unintentional.
This is a tough situation, but
that came up in the paperwork for the, I call it residential rental or VRBO, and you are applying for it?
Right now, the garage, he applied to have living space in the garage.
Oh, that's what you were referencing in September 3rd. Okay.
The bunkhouse permit, but nothing about the rentals.
We for a limited time, we rented VRBO, but we haven't done that since 2018. We are moving up here now. We won't do that again.
yeah, we're basically looking at the sport court right now. That's what we have to address. And I went out with a tape measure, unfortunately, and Mark Crowley was pretty accurate. He's about 20 feet from the center line, and you're about 13 feet from the drain field from the center line. And, of the private road, I'm sorry, I meant to explain that.
Came into contention when we were talking, we've got it listed as violations, was the Azurtide to Sleep 20 online, and you said that you had done that, and you just stated that you haven't done it since 2018, is that correct? Oh,
We use the bunkhouse now on 4th of July when our kids come up with the grandkids. And we just used it on Labor Day. Otherwise, it's our third bedroom.
well, I say that part of our job is to come out on site. And I was out on that site and ran into an individual that I asked if he was the owner, he told me no. And he told me he was renting the place. I don't have his name, I don't know who it was, I'm just saying.
He was probably joking.
Well, either or, but you just said that it's not. It's been a violation before, and as we go, I always announce myself because I don't like walking on people's property. I went up to a screened-in porch in there and said, hey, I just don't want to scare anyone that I'm on private information, and a gentleman came out and talked to me. I didn't, I asked if he was the owner, he said no, and I said, well, I'm just here to look at the property for a zoning situation. And that gentleman did tell me that he had rented the property.
I assure you, we haven't been on VRBO since 2008.
Either way, it's hearsay. I didn't write the guy's name down, but we have one of three people. There's description and information. We've got a violation in the past of that because I don't believe the county, whether it's right or wrong, we can't get into VRBOs without a proper permit. Is that correct?
Yep.
So that's technically a violation. If you were to cite stuff.
If it was being rented, yep, that's a violation.
Bill, do you think you have any more questions?
No, I was glad that we got, the information out there from
Okay,
this.
I think that we'll, consider this and you go into private session. I appreciate your input.
Do we do that?
Thank you.
I think, is there?
Thank you. Seems to be two other representatives that want to talk on this.
Yeah, I think it was, what?
Three, I'd like to talk about.
Hmm? Would you step up front or?
Well, so far, let's see, we have, Beverly. Do you want to say anything?
I'm Beverly Stoffels. I co-own the cabin with Richard Stoffels at 27449. We came in here in 99, 98, 99, and we built it together. I'm a retired teacher. I just retired from coaching high school girls in the last 2 years. So we wanted to come up here and stay more. So I retired full-time because that goes from August until to like November and stuff. But we raised 7 children here. I've been part of the community. It's lovely. The Doriats that used to live behind us, we had she let us use the land. We had a wedding up here for one of our daughters. I had a family reunion. Anyway, what I'm saying is we love the community, and I wanted my words in here is that we've worked very hard. Like, I know what drain tile is now. I know what insulation is. I pulled it out of my hair. Plus, we were working full-time and coaching and raising 7 children. We did wrong. When the guys were there, I said, well, we've had a volleyball court here for, 20 years. And he said, let's put in pickleball. Of course, I thought financially, I said, it's not the right time to do that. It's like, that's pretty expensive. If we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. And I have 2 tennis players. I have little kids that play badminton on it for me. And then when they said we didn't need a permit because it's a slab, we put in slabs all the time. We don't have to do it for driveways and stuff. So never took it as a building that we would need a permit. Richard and I don't know how we got here. Like, it's like we're good people. We work with our neighbors. We like the community. We did something wrong. Okay, I got it. Now let's fix it. I said, let's fix it. Should I be thrown in prison? Should I have been done? But to take that court out, to me, it's not hurting anybody. It's an asset to it. It was wrong. Are we going to be set as precedents? Like, okay, people think they can do whatever they want. Well, I think we're a good example is that if we would have had this permit, all of this would have been eliminated. We've had to put more money out now because we've had to get a survey in there. We've had to give up land. We have to do, they all get more shoreline, and we're given that. But because we think it's so important and we enjoy it and it's such a hardship, so people say, it's not a hardship. You put $20,000 into something and they just rip it out and it's not causing harm to anyone, that's a hardship. I've lost sleep over this. I know we've done things, sometimes we've done things wrong. That shed, I was there when Flanagan said, I just put it on the top of the hill. We ended up pushing it with barrels by ourselves, and then we had to go get a tractor, have a friend help us to move it back up. It's like, I don't get it. It's like, why? How is this all happening to us? The VRBL thing, I was working all the time and stuff too, and so our next door neighbor said, well, we do VRBL, if you do it, and we thought we were just following it by rules. We claimed our taxes as the people use it. We were paying the taxes of it. It's not like we're running with and packing, and it was hard work. Like, I would have to clean and everything about them. Some friends came up this year, and we didn't exchange the money, but we did swap. I said, so when we come down to Florida, so we can stay, we have a place, but they have a place on the ocean side, we can swap. So is that rental? I don't know. Is that, letting people, it was her 70th. They were begging us to say, they said it's her birthday. It's her 70th birthday, let her family. So here's August, prime time, the 1st of August. Okay, just take it, I'll get it ready for you. But we have not tried to be malicious. We haven't tried to be the people coming in here to be bad and to try to make people's lives miserable. It's lovely. It's a place that You know, we've sold our home in the cities now. It's a place that I want to retire to. And I don't know why we got such a bad rap. I mean, somebody the other day just went by and said to me, "Oh, you're the stupid ones who put the cord on," and I was just like, really? For all, did you see us shoveling rock out in the rock piles, without being told? It's like, we're not those people. And paper and what people say, and then going to the town meeting and some of the things that were said, like your residents, these lies coming in, and it's like, ask us, are we perfect? No, we made a mistake. Did we try? Did we know we were making a mistake? No, absolutely not, because I tell you what, a permit costs what? I would have done that over and over again. And I'm pleading for you that please don't take out the court. If it's other things, I'm willing to do other things, but it's just such an asset to it's so pretty. If we rip that out, there's weeds again and stuff. And then, I'm not threatening like it's going to be, but it's such pretty. We made it sure that it fit in there. So I just ask for your forgiveness. And we're really trying everything to fix it. Okay. Thank you for your time.
Mark, you're next.
Yes, all I have to add is if there's any questions regarding the survey and the exchange of the lines, do it by legal, by CSM, and Jason approved our design on that. And just to reiterate again that the easement is all on their property, but it is an easement that other people have the right to use. And there is ample room to widen it actually in both directions if needed without even encompassing or taking the court out. We could definitely widen it 8 or 10 feet each way.
That's my point. As town chairman, I've learned that by default, we assume 66 feet. If we can't find a court record, it defaults to the 66. A lot of times when we rebuild a road, we shift it within that right of way, and that changes a lot of the perspective of a character or community or whatever it is. That's why I didn't catch earlier too that all 66 feet is in the landowner's area. County has an ordinance that we have a 30-foot driveway maintenance width. Most town roads are 20 foot to 22 foot with a 2-foot shoulder. We're talking 24 if you're lucky, 24, 26, you won't see many town roads that wide. So when you talk about emergency service and access to that, I believe there is room in that right of way for that road. One, probably where it is, but it can be moved in that circumstance that because what is the intent? Our intent is to have people safe with emergency services and EMS. So that.
Yeah, as you can see on the drawing, it's basically just about centered right now where the existing driveway is there. Granted, it's not the 66-foot cleared at all because the trees are encroaching on it, but it definitely can be wider, brush wider, and easily accommodate the 33 to 35-foot wide area that's needed without encroaching on the court. Okay. If there's any other questions, let me know too.
And you drew up the land swap deal that encompasses I believe it's the south side of the pickleball court?
You have a copy of that?
We looked at it. I just want to clarify that that's done and, okay.
And that was reviewed with the township too, and they had some questions on it, and then we did meet with the town a couple of different times. And the town is fine with it as long as it gets done. Because there's contingency that the swap will be taken care of because their worry was the taxation issue. And we assured them with the certified survey map going forward that exchange would take place, otherwise they'd be denied here. So that would be taken care of as we move forward.
So that's all on the list. So I guess whoever else wants to talk that didn't sign up electronically.
My name is Judy Peterson. I reside at 27451 Stone Road in Webster, Wisconsin. I reside, I don't know which direction it is, east to the Stoffels. I have a record from last month's meeting on file. I just want to state at this month's meeting that Burnett County has three requirements to qualify for a variance, and that's unique property limitations, unnecessary hardships, and no harm to public interests. And according to my understanding and what I read from what was submitted is that the Stoffels pickleball court doesn't meet these requirements. And it's not a personal, I don't have a personal vendetta against the Stoffels. My problem is that from 2018 or prior to, in the letter submitted from Mr. Stoffels, he stated that he began planning this project prior to building it. In that planning, it should have been researched whether or not a permit was required for a project of this size and expense. No harm to public interest. He lives within a shoreland, and there is drainage that goes into the land, and that does go into Devil's Lake. You know, unnecessary hardship. You know, his answer was that it was the only area that was flat on his land. He could have built it up. Unique property limitations. You know, if a permit would have been applied for and it would have been staked out, and Burnett County could have come out and surveyed it, and he could have worked with the county. You know, they could have adjusted their pickleball court, or they maybe could have come to us and maybe we would have been able to work with him, because at no time did Mr. Stoffels ever come to my husband and I to propose any actions. You know, from the beginning, it was not discussed with my husband and I. The way we found out about it is the utility companies did disconnect our phone, and then Mr. Stoffels drove through our property. That's how we found out what was going on with the pickleball court. So not all neighbors were discussed with prior to the construction. So the issue that we have, not just with Mr. Stoffels, but in Burnett County in itself, is that permits are not being applied to prior to construction being done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm sorry, I didn't apply right in, I didn't know I was supposed to do that.
Oh, it's fine.
Sure. Hi, I'm Tamara Bratland, and my husband and I reside on the south side of the Stoffels property at 27441 Doriot Lane. We are the neighbors that have the concern with the variance on the south side of the property. We have come to a very satisfactory land swap agreement that will correct that side variance issue, and we're very happy with it. I'm requesting that you vote yes for this approval. And some of the reasons is I see this as really a great thing for our neighborhood and our family and our property. The installation of the sport court has actually really improved the drainage on our road. The part of the road right in front of the Stoffels was actually the worst part of our road. It washed out and pushed down further down the hill. There's a great drainage ditch that's all landscaped with almost like a rain garden type area, and a culvert that runs into the rest of their yard. And it's really great out there. I mean, the road is the best it's ever been. Another little aside is we've had a terrible gopher problem for years. I don't know why this made a difference, but maybe it's the drainage or something. But the gophers are gone, destroying the road and in our yard. And it's beautifully landscaped around the area. It really fits into the natural environment flawlessly. I was over there today, and it looks really beautiful, and it fits into our yard very well. It's one of the best pickleball courts there is around, and pickleball now is the #1 fastest growing sport in the U.S. We've learned to play pickleball because of it, and we just love it. Our family loves the court. We've learned to play pickleball. The staff has been very generous for others to use the court and teach them. It's a kind of a passion. Obviously, if they went to this effort, they love pickleball. Having it available is bringing our adult children back. They see it as another fun activity to do when they're at the cabin, and our friends are asking to come up, and they're bringing money into Burnett County and eating at restaurants and going to stores, so it's a benefit to the community. The neighbors along the road that pay for and maintain the road are all in support of maintaining it, of having the court stay. One of my concerns is that if you vote no, the court will have to come out, and what will happen to that. I think that will be a really detriment. The road will probably be damaged from the big trucks coming in and tearing it up. The landscape will have to go to get in there to tear it up, and I think everything after the Stoffels are going through, I don't think they'll spend more money putting the landscaping back in there. And the area will just be a mess. It really wasn't that nice of area. It was a volleyball court before, but, so please, I really encourage you to not punish the rest of us for any mistakes you think the Stoffels made in this process. We really support it and are excited about having it there, and the land swap agreement is totally accessible. We love the land swap agreement.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. I've got, Mark, can I ask you another question here?
Sure.
Going back to the road width or whatever, is there a way to salvage this thing or not, road-wise? Can you move that road further east or not? I mean,
The road can be moved, there's about 25 feet between the center line of the road and the east property line.
okay,
So the road can be widened at least 10 feet further to the east and still be maintained in that easement.
so now would that move the center line then, so he would have 40 feet to the pickleball court or not?
We probably wouldn't have quite that amount, but that, I mean, that, we can't meet the requirements, otherwise we would have tried that, short of buying from the neighbors or getting permission to put the easement road on the neighbors there. That, like you suggested before, that would have been a solution, but it wasn't looked at this time.
You see what I'm trying to get at?
Oh, I understand what you're trying to get at.
Yeah.
And that's why they spoke to the town too, and the question was whether that ever become a town road, and that's kind of where things got put, is because it wasn't done right the first time. And so in order to do it proper, you'd have to dig out the clay and put ditches in and widen it and deepen it. And so it'd be pretty expensive. And also the people at the end of the road, I believe, did not want to turn around at the end of the road because that would take out of their property. And so that was all the discussions, and that's why all the adjoining neighbors that use the easement agreed to it. And if you saw, I think there's a copy of that in your.
Would that road, I didn't go any further, but would that road service any more up that shore of Devil's Lake?
Yeah, they're lot number 5, I believe, and so it goes up to lot 7. There's, I think, there is in 3 places beyond there.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's wetland in the north end and a hill, so it doesn't go beyond there.
Okay, okay.
It stops up there with the turnaround area.
So there'd be no big pressure to move, to expand the road to, okay, okay. Do we have anything else in the way of input from county, neighbors, townships?
Yeah, so we got, you have in the packet, you had a letter, and you have 2 letters of opposition, Judy and Art Peterson. Judy spoke tonight as well, and then Joy Trussell. You have 4 letters for it. Tamara, she spoke tonight, Lori Kriegel, Bart McDonald, Daniel Morgan. You have email correspondence from the town, from their August 12th meeting where they voted 2-1 to deny the request. And then you have a revised one from their meeting on September 9th where they voted 3-0 to approve the request or be in favor of it.
Okay.
So that's a little confusing, I think, in your
Depends on the time.
paperwork that you're looking at.
Okay, thank you.
And then that neighbor agreement is in there from the 5 people on the road. So.
And that is, yep, that's all 5 parcels except for the 2 unsold lots or the 2 undeveloped lots. So I think we just stated that there's 2 more lots that, no?
No, they're developed.
Okay.
There's 2 beyond this property. The other four are south of,
Yeah, so there's two lots. That agreement was signed by the two people that is past their place and the three people that are before them.
Okay, so
And then-
bracket both sides.
Yes, so then there's one person that has frontage out on Dorian and East Devils Lake Road. They're not on that agreement,
They're on closer to the, or farther to the south.
way to the south,
So they're already, in a sense, out of the access. They don't use that for.
essentially.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, we also have a letter that was asked for and sent to our attorney, who looked at the agreement between the neighbors, and he didn't think that was really,
That was the
The pre-
first
that was
agreement.
the first one? Okay.
This one clarified that, and that
Yeah,
was part of
okay.
the thing.
So
is
we've got
the lot.
nothing on, all right, all right,
That was the first agreement
Gotcha.
where it was like a licensing thing, I believe, is what
gotcha,
that was gonna be.
okay.
That's all the public comments, then?
Pardon?
I think that's all the public comments, so if you wanna,
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yep.
We'll close our part and we'll discuss between ourselves then, okay?
this is a unique one, Marv, isn't it?
I look at it and right away I see two things where it doesn't apply. Where it does apply, it wasn't a unique property limitation. At the time, he could have done something or would have harm to the public interest. I don't know if provision of efficient public facilities, utilities, meaning the road. He's 13 feet from the center line of the private road. He's supposed to be 40.
It's unique. I looked at this, I actually, in the meeting that didn't happen last time, but I believe that's unofficial. I actually abstained because, again, this is fairly new to me. These are unique situations where you're dealing with a lot of, in a sense, legal aspects.
Yep.
I always try to go to a core of intent. That is the reason we make rules and laws. As a town chairman, I've seen situations where I've had multiple landowners on a private driveway that wasn't a 66-foot access. And every 2 years, they come to me complaining that they don't have the town plow the road because it's a private driveway. And it's a nightmare because it's not wide enough or easement is big enough for that situation. The county and the towns are trying to require that easement for that specific reason, that 66-foot road access that he doesn't have for that reason. But he also has every owner on that list signing a basic legal agreement saying they're okay with that limitation. And me personally go to say the right-of-way is exactly that, a right-of-way for a road in 66 feet that you need 20 feet, 22 feet for a driveway. Again, when I look at the county ordinance, when we pull a permit for a driveway, we only require 30 feet total width.
Yeah.
For emergency vehicles. I know the right-of-way there is exactly for utilities, future movements, and whatever. When I see this landowner has 25 feet approximately from the stone that he owns where the driveway could go, it doesn't make sense to me to want to tear it out. Whether he was right or wrong in pulling the permits is kind of irrelevant to me. I had two concerns then, was one, the pickleball court was on the other neighbor's property. He's addressed that legally to where that neighbor is happy to sign off on that land swipe, which removes the two objectives I had at that time.
Okay.
What else in my notes? Like I said, I look at most my town roads. If I get 22 to 24 feet out of it, we're lucky. Some of our roads are 16 and 18 feet pavement width on a town road. This is a private driveway, or is it technically it's a private road, which is a private driveway. I do want to say too, the 66-foot right-of-way is it's not the town's land, it's not the county's land, it is the landowner's land that has the easement to put the land on, the road on and access. Again, some of the other stuff is, if you can call it hearsay or not, it's not a good situation. This makes it harder for everyone in this process to move forward. But he's met my objections from the meeting. I would actually make a motion to approve with the recommendations made.
Okay, motion been made to approve the variance as requested. All in favor signify by saying aye.
We're gonna talk about these conditions.
Pardon?
I think we need to clarify these conditions.
Okay,
Because I'm no attorney, and I wanted to make sure, and I talked to Jason about this, that
I'm
there's.
not an attorney either.
I know, but there's 5 parcels on this private road. And I want to clarify that every one of those individuals, or 6 with yourself, every one of those people agreed to leaving the court. So my concern would be, what my objective as a town chairman would say, okay, if I've got a private driveway, I want to make sure every one of those people are serviced. Some of these people bought lots in the days when they didn't have the right of way, and they're screwed because they assumed it'd be brought up to code. It can't be done now because of the situation. These people are willingly admitting they're okay with that lack of right of way for that road.
my only concern with that, quite honestly, is 10 years down the pipe, when you've had 2 new owners since the original person agreed to it, and something comes up and he said, what do you mean I owe $5,000 because I want to do something? I never agreed to that. And it was never recorded on his deed, and now you got a hassle.
Correct. And that strength of whatever court document he has there will have to hold up in time. Just like everyone, when you go in the future, you don't have no guarantee of liability.
Right.
I say the same thing. It's not a town road. It's not a county road. It's not a state road. It's a private driveway. The intent is to keep it lotted in case the towns, because it'd be the town that takes over the road, not the county typically. The secondary thing would be if they sign off on it, and they voted 3-0 in favor of keeping the pickleball court. So the town of jurisdiction said, we're okay with that.
Well, if you look at it again too, there's really only 2 people that are involved in this, and it's the people to the south of them, where the court, to the north.
Farther north
parcels. To the people who owned part of the pickleball court inadvertently, and they've agreed to divvy up some property in Swamp. So those are the 2 people really involved. Is it really? Well, yeah, it is, because it affects the center line of the road, those 2 people. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, just to clarify, land use permit to be obtained by 9/1, was there a land use for that permit pulled for the pickleball court?
No, because we don't
know
tell
what
it's
was going on.
approved.
Yeah.
Correct,
Yep.
but that's a condition of
Yep.
what we have listed there. Sports courts for personal use only. Garage not to be used as a bunkhouse or habitable structure without the proper permits.
Yep.
Sheds and deck within the setback to be removed, and I think you've been talking about those corrections there. And the classic lock and chain on the septic system. We ought to just send out flyers to every citizen on that. So I've made a motion on those 5 conditions.
So we got all conditions listed then? Okay. So is your motion complete?
Believe so.
Okay.
Is there, Jason, is there anything
All right.
on the list?
Motion has been made with the read-in conditions. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you. You've got your pickleball court. And now go down with, variance number 2122, Grable or Grable, Grable.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Tim Grable. I reside at 33142 Kale Avenue, Chisago City, Minnesota. Here to go over a couple of walls within the setbacks, Lakeshore setback.
Oh, okay. On the phone, I just, the face didn't match the phone signature from yesterday, or last month's meeting.
Well, back when COVID came in, I quit cutting my hair, so that's something.
Yeah, well, you work with trucks.
That too. I can kind of pick up, maybe where we left off here. There are some pictures here that I do have that I took. Jason had asked the silt fence and some vegetation put in. Kind of briefly go over it, the other one was unofficial, I guess. But I got a bunch of pictures here showing some of that's the wall. This is showing some of the runoff that was there.
Is that the path or that's the runoff? Oh, no,
Both.
I know.
And there's one over here too. Here's some of the stuff I planted. Some ferns and a bunch of stuff. Actually coming in pretty darn good down there now. That's from my dock. The other picture there. Same thing as for the dock in, actually. That's before the silt fence went in. And I believe that's the silt fence now being in, until the geese keep ripping it down on me, but.
And the bear.
And the bear, yeah. That's just some more, runoff going down there. Here's the grass seed and some ferns coming up. I threw it, grass seed, and this is pre-plants in there. That's looking up from the bottom. Here's another one of another spot of the runoff right there. And that's another close-up of the one I already just showed you. So it's a lot of it. These were ones that I took recently, but sorry, the camera wasn't very good. This was actually showing some runoff from the hill coming up top. Just wanted to show that the grass and sod certainly stopped it well before my line there, where the rock wall is. Here's another spot. You can see it washed down my hill, but it stopped right there where it would initially keep going.
The grade is pretty steep there too. I don't know.
Yeah. There's a top wall. I got some good vegetation coming now. Same with on the bottom. You can see all the grass. I don't mow any of that. That just gets walked on or whatever. So it's coming up real nice down in there. And I recently worked. Actually, it was Jason that sent me over, and so did Dave Ferris from our last conversation on getting him involved with some of the driveway stuff. He did send an email, and he sent, this is more of just a couple of thoughts of his. I want to make sure we were both on the same page there. So those are some of his thoughts. Here's a copy of the email he sent, attached with it. He also followed up, was today, I believe, with a phone call, which was nice too. So we talked over a bunch of that, and he's got some nice ideas in there. That's the two different properties.
Yeah, you got two adjacent.
Yeah, exactly. So up here, some of the stuff we're talking about, which is well outside any of the 75-foot setback, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But we're gonna put some water lines in here. Here I have a permit on file with Jason now, where this grassy path is. I want to have steps made, put down there. I'm actually got a guy ready to go on. As soon as I get a permit, I will have steps put in. So that would eliminate that grassy path. Once you walk on that stuff, it just kind of runs away from you.
Yeah.
Right here, it looks really bad, and David and I had a conversation on that. I had a camper up top where that septic pipe is right there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any of that anymore. I graded all this up here, drug it with a harrow drag, and then I also ran that trail and threw out a bunch of grass seed and different weed stuff to get it to grow. So that's why I probably looked a little bit more tore up than normal, but I did it during the state fair time, is when they had said to do it in there, so.
Yeah, I've got to say, I looked at the top of that hill, and the first thing I saw, boy, a couple of funnels going down to the lake.
Yeah. Yeah.
to the,
I almost left my car in the lake when I pulled over the top of it. I'm like,
It'll get you-
oh,
it'll
I'm
get you
glad I
first.
stopped at the right moment here, 'cause
It'll get you at first, but as long as you have all-wheel drive, we'll get out of it.
Yeah, well, luckily it was front-wheel drive, but it was the weights on the wheels.
Yeah, it's a summertime driveway pretty much. This was one of the deals, I don't know, I just had it in my folder from a while ago. That's the one I printed when I used, as you can see, a lot of that out of the Burnett County Zone Shoreline Property Owner's Guide, when we did it on there. But Jay's been great to work with. I don't think we're having any problems there. Again, that was just some ideas. He was kind enough to even mention, I got his phone number. He said, call me on my cell. He'll come out on a Saturday and check it out with me, and we can look at some stuff. So it's a rock wall. I don't know, a lot more to explain. There's erosion. I do have a copy of the mitigation deal I signed here. And
I think you used something besides gravel. Did you have some of that chopped up bituminous or?
on the driveway?
On one of the level, you had a chopped up blacktop or something on instead of gravel?
On the driveway, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't get a lot of runoff with that. And that's well above the 75-foot setback.
Yeah.
On there. I just haven't had an issue with that. I hope I don't. That pictures I took with that rain, that's when we had that one night here, probably only the one night, where I had like 2 inches of rain in that one night. That's what I got to run off, and that was it. Those pictures I took. I just thought it was interesting to show that, hey, we stopped it well before anything even went near lake, where before it would keep on running pretty well down there. So this was the mitigation that I signed that Jason had sent over, but my point on this is where I didn't consider even a permanent nothing. You know, I thought I was obligated to restore and maintain that vegetation buffer zone. Out of the 10 things, and I think 8 of them start with restore and preserve and so on. In my opinion, that's what I was doing at the time. There's no sheds, there's no structure down there, just that.
I think we got a sketch too, of something where, they had recommended some kind of an angle and a funnel or a runoff to sides, going down both sides of the driveway or something.
Yeah, well, I think you guys were sent a copy of that.
Yeah.
from Dave.
Oh, yeah, okay, right.
Yeah, that's the red lines on there, and
Yeah.
they're water lines. Basically, it's gonna be, it's PVC, well, not, it's like drainage pipe with some rock over it.
Okay.
So,
All right.
Yeah, and I talked to Dave today about that, and he said, that's not like set in stone, that design or anything, but he was just
Something
saying,
like
you
it,
could
or,
do something like this
Yeah.
to address the runoff
okay.
issues.
And in his comment on his email, he'd mentioned, if you weren't running four-wheelers up and down that hill, in conversation with them, that would probably be fine. I fill up my boat maybe twice a year, about all I would go down there. In the wintertime, I use it. When the steps are in, I certainly have no reason, to use it, so make it a heck of a lot easier. Although he tried talking me into a tram, which was, I looked into it, that got a little expensive.
Yeah. So have
I
I.
looked at it real briefly.
Either wait till it ices up and drive it out on the,
redneck.
it was 77, yeah.
Yeah, snowmobile trail's right by me too, so we drive and I park down there, snowmobiles in the wintertime, but that doesn't
Okay.
really problem. On that property with nothing to lot, I hate to do too much, construction-wise to it, other than vegetation, just because at some point here in the next year or two, I'd like to build my cabin there. So, which is the whole reason I kept the property separate, is for doing that.
Don't have any other questions regarding this one?
I guess I've got no more questions.
I think anyone else has wanted to speak on it?
Well, Mark is signed up, but Mark signs up for everything.
The pictures are whatever you had already on there, and if there's any questions, we can answer.
Okay.
You've seen it out there, and that's what you get.
Yeah. And because started so long ago, there's pictures kind of mixed in from the very beginning to.
Correct. I think we could close the public hearing if that makes sense.
I don't have any more questions of the gentleman because it seemed pretty well covered. He's got a lot of things he has to follow, if that's, there's no doubt about it. Yeah, I don't have any more questions at this point.
Well, the unique property limitations, that is a steep slope, which added to the drainage issues of just accessing the property. Like I said, I was looking at the garage when I was pulling over the driveway, and I'm like, oh, that falls off more than I would think in the horizon. And I'm like, I've got 62 feet on my property, and I know the situation with that. At the time, the concern was the retaining walls. We had talked about that on the previous thing, and these work. And I think the point is we're working with Mr. Ferris and zoning to make sure that everything is up to that thing, and you've got the agreement with him.
If he continues working with Mr. Ferris, do we have anything else, Jason, from any comments?
Yeah, no public comments, nothing from the town. All you have, is from Dave Ferris.
Okay. Thank you.
And I will say Dave's been just awesome to work with so far on it, so he's some real good ideas and willing to correct me on a few things. Pine trees, he didn't really want.
And he's already started working because we were talking about site to be developed to meet floodplain requirements, and that's what Dave is starting to give ideas, stating that this might not be the master plan, but it's conditional to the situation, so.
I have a history question from before. It said, there was a permit from 2018 required that provision isn't being followed. Remember what that was?
I think that's probably the mitigation agreement.
Probably, yeah, that's the mitigation. That's
okay.
Probably a slight difference of opinion on putting in retaining walls. He feels that's probably beneficial. We feel it's not beneficial, so.
Okay, thank you.
And that's why we're here, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand that argument. It's really tough. In the same situation, when you look at that slope, it's like, I'm sure you as a landowner don't want your land sloughing into the lake.
Mm-hmm.
And that's our intent too. The goal is the same. How we get there can be maybe somewhat different, and that's understandable. Like I said, you've shown that you seem to be more than willing to meet whatever we have to satisfy both sides.
And clearly by the pictures, I didn't knock down a bunch of trees. I don't even think I trimmed a tree for my viewing stuff. I mean, I don't want people looking in my windows. We have on the weekends, I fish, we boat and hang out. So we're pretty private when it comes to that. So I thought I'd taken a picture, and I must not have printed it. I took a picture from out on the lake to show you can barely see my cabin from the lake. So
that makes sense.
It's not cut. That's not a big old clean cut.
On that hill, and then we'll block.
I think a little scary in the storms. Yeah, those big trees get wiggling up there. It'll take some time to get some of that stuff done. There'll be frost going in the ground before you know it.
It's a project, there's no doubt about it.
I'm content with no further information needed myself. You good, Marv?
I've got no problem. As long as he keeps following.
I'll make a motion. We approve variance 2122 Grabo with requirements that he continues to work with the county on site development to meet floodplain requirements for the issues that we've addressed and ideas that we've had. Do you think you could get that done within a year? You're saying, I know we're saying the end of the season is coming up. Would you recommend saying?
We give a year when it's this time of the, when it's
September. Would you say 10 of 2022?
Yeah.
Would that be?
Yeah, because the stuff that Dave had on there.
That gives you next summer basically to finalize a plan and kind of meet that.
It maybe if I kept in good communication, if something were to happen, I do travel a bit. Yeah, just keep in touch with Jason or David, that,
Usually, as long as the people are making progress,
Okay.
we can extend dates a little bit.
Just as a metric, I didn't do, I think we had the date, we usually put
Yep.
some type of touchdown, goal line on there, so.
Something.
So, yeah, I made a motion for 21 Trinity Grabo to, approve conditional use permit, as long as the site is developed to meet floodplain requirements and work to be done by 10 October of 2022.
Okay, motion been made, and I'd second that motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you. You're back in business.
thank you. Save the tough one for last.
I don't think we'll be seeing you again. Do you want your pictures?
Okay,
They're nice to have, put them in a folder and find them in 10 years. Oh, look, look.
I'm guilty of not taking pictures ever. In this case here, when this happened, I started taking
Yeah,
all
I
kinds of
asked you that a
pictures.
month ago at the meeting that didn't
Yeah.
exist. Hypothetically,
you should take a lot of pictures.
yeah.
Those we've used pictures, like, we've had people have to dig up pictures from like 30 years ago.
Blaine Brothers,
Yeah.
To prove that
Service to
they're
account for
there,
fees.
not
My
there.
brother-in-law owns Como Lube and Supply.
Okay, out of, up north. Yep, you bet.
We have the Hugo mine.
Yep. Yeah, you bet. Yep, absolutely. I've been there going on 21 years now.
Yeah, cool.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Jason,
Okay.
is this, you said it's gonna be 3 weeks? I heard you mentioned 3 weeks behind on permitting so far.
I hope by the end of the week. I think I sent you an email.
Yeah, you did, and then I heard you mention 3. I was like, oh.
Well, it is 2 to 3, so I mean,
Yeah,
everybody's,
yeah, no, I get it. I suppose it's been a week yet.
yeah.
Still hot? Or wait, we haven't adjourned, have we?
Okay, we've got some previous stuff here, right?
Oh,
I haven't, drafted any of the ones from the previous ones, so we'll sign those next week. So
Oh.
here in a week, I figure.
Oh,
it
that's
wasn't a
we
big
come,
deal.
get to come next week too, right?
Yeah, you get another week.
Okay, well, let's, I make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
I will second that motion, Mark.
Okay, motion made, second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all. Good Lord.
Wait a minute for all the technology to be turned off and shut off, so.
The agenda came out real late,
Yeah.
and it has no tenants noted on there.
No
That's
what?
when I sent you the email,
Oh, no one allowed.
so no one allowed on there.
Oh, well, that's good, they all listen.
I called one or two of them just to check to see if they, because on your public notice, it was,
Correct.
it didn't say anything, and then
So-
on there, so that must've been left over from a previous copy.
Probably a previous one, 'cause that was
So I
when
just